Damon here with NLP Gym, imitating successful people. If you haven't already, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel and you'll get regular videos and updates on trainings and workshops as well. So, imitating successful people. In a sense, this is what NLP was based on to begin with, was finding success models or finding how people were achieving excellence and success and creating a model out of that and extracting that model, a content-free model. So leaving out the person's personal stories and what they believed was creating their success. That's what we call content, and looking at the actual structure of their experience of how they were creating their success. That way you could extract that, and then anybody could take on that model and become successful or get better results than what they were getting. I think it's important to make a distinction here, though, and that is you don't want to imitate necessarily other people. And again, these are content-free models. So when you imitate someone, you're taking on more than just what makes them successful. You're taking on more than just the structure. And this can be problematic. For one thing, or for the most important reason this is that you want to develop yourself. You want to find that your own individuality, you want to find your own uniqueness and cultivate and develop that. You don't want to imitate someone else's, because that will only hold you back. You're only going to be looked at as someone who's imitating someone else. Now, it's true, a lot of successful people will take on, say, a mentor, whether that's real or not. Like Hunter S. Thompson used to handwrite his favorite authors, and so did Henry Miller. They used to handwrite and copy passages from their favorite writers. That taught them how to write, that taught them structure. But if they had continued writing in the other person's style who they admired, they never would have become the famous and wonderful authors that they became and wrote some of the best that American literature has to offer. So make sure that you're making that distinction. You may want to take on certain mindsets, follow certain principles, certain ways of approaching things when it comes to people you admire or who have the success that you have or that you want to have. You don't want to imitate them, though. Speaking of Hunter S. Thompson, people around him, and this is stories I've heard, I never met the man. People would imitate him, and he was kind of a contagious personality that way. Richard Bandler is that way. I don't think he does it intentionally, but a lot of people who hang out with Richard Bandler for a long time kind of become clones of him. They're trying to imitate him. They take on his language. I've seen some people even gain weight and grow a ponytail. So this is not going to make you more yourself. This is not going to cultivate and develop your uniqueness, because you're going to be in the shadow of this other person. Carl Jung believed in creating your own myth, and well, not just in creating it, you're going to have your own myth, so you might as well cultivate it and add to it. And that myth is basically how you perceive yourself and how others perceive you. It's just a story. It's impossible to know who the true you is, so you create a myth around that, you create a story around that, even a generalization around that. And that's yours to discover and cultivate and develop. And as long as you're imitating someone else, as long as you're trying to be someone else, even someone very successful, you're never going to quite get there. So again, very important to look at what other people are doing, successful people are doing, find contentless models to use, mindsets, principles, things like that, rather than trying to live out their experiences or trying to do the exact same things that they did. And find your uniqueness, your weirdness within yourself, and bring that out, express it. And when you do that, you develop, you evolve, and you discover that there's no one who can be quite like you, and that's what makes you special. That's what makes you, in some ways, better than the people you admire. If you haven't already, please check out our website, nlp-gym.com. Follow us on Facebook, and as I mentioned before, subscribe to this YouTube page. Take care.